So these are the ones that you find at like little restaurants or different things like that. This machine is automated. We're able to have little hoppers at the back that fill with salt. It goes through, it'll fold the film itself, and then it fills it, and then down here it gets cut, and we go through filling these pretty quickly throughout the day.
So how many packets are you doing in an hour or a minute?
This one I've been playing with. I have it set for 80 bag pull speed, so we can average about 74 pieces in a minute.
74 a minute?
Yeah, with this one. That one I haven't tweaked with yet, but this one I'm learning a lot about, and I'll take what I learned here and bring it over to that machine.
You're mentioning tweaking.
There's a lot that we don't know about these machines, and as we learn more, we're able to improve upon and increase our speed and our production capability.
So we're about 2 hours away from the mine, and we are at the packaging center, and we're going to see how the salt is both going through different safety procedures and being packaged. I'm here with Trevor and Ben, and they're going to show us around.
These two garage doors is kind of our receiving entrance. They will open up the bag, and basically what they'll look at is we have 4 types of grains of salt.
Yeah.
We have powder, fine, kosher, and coarse. And essentially there's just a difference in the size.
Is this the amount of salt in there? In pounds?
In pounds.
So 2,400 pounds.
This bag, yep. So they'll vary a little bit between 2,800 pounds that these bags will hold, and that just comes from the mine. So they'll fill it there at the mine. They'll weigh it right on how much that weight is.
What's interesting is this has the appearance of a date, but it's not. This is actually correlates to a location in the mine.
So if there is, right, if you ever need to trace back, like you also know where it actually was.
There's different tunnels within the mine,
Right.
so they're able to check that.
And how many of these bags do you process in this room a day?
It can be anywhere from 15 to 40 bags a day.
When we stage and receive the salt, because we don't add anything to it to help it flow better or to help it not cake or clump. So we'll start the cycle here, and it'll go through varying degrees of just conditioning cycles and bag squishing. But it is critical to our process to make sure that we can flow through the magnets and metal detection and not introduce problems into the process. A lot of salt companies will actually add calcium silicate, which is used as a flow agent or anti-caking or anti-clumping. We don't do that, so this machine helps us deal with that.
And just for reference, some of the clumps, when this does clump up, some of the clumps can be this big of salt, just compacted like a rock almost. So it really does help make sure that, one, it can pass through those magnets like he's saying, and also as we go in, you'll see a little bit better, just as the process flows, that it won't get stuck in any of the machinery at all either.
These are what we call our bag unloaders. So it's basically a hoist and trolley, a crane system. We will connect it to this cool device. So this is where the magnets actually sit. So these are known as a self-cleaning magnet because they clean themselves with these little wipers back here. And these are neodymium magnets, and they're insanely strong. If you get them stuck together, they like shatter and break into a million pieces and would probably break your fingers. But basically every time we pull this magnet, we make a little check on this log here. And this is one of those things that the FDA knows we have it, and the FDA knows that this is how we're controlling a hazard. And so this will catch anything ferrous. Ferrous meaning magnetic. So anything magnetic sticks here, anything non-ferrous is what the metal detection is for. And then you can kind of see exactly what it is that we're finding. 99.99% of the time what we're finding is just natural mineral ore that's magnetic.
Are there any magnets in the processing at the mine or no?
Yep.
So there's one set, there's magnets there and here.
And here.
Okay.
Yep. So redundancy is helpful in a case like this one, right? So it costs you very little to have a magnet in the process and can save you a lot of pain and ultimately the consumer as well.
Their well-being.
It's important. So after it passes the magnet check here, it just gets conveyed just through a series of conveyors. And then the fun, like, octopus-looking device up here, that's your metal detector. So what's happening, loads of salt are being dropped into that hopper. It's free-flowing through the metal detector, so there's a quick metal detection, and then a reject flap. So if it ever detects anything that it doesn't like, it cycles the reject flap.
Which is this.
You can see, we just capture that. So more often than not, there's nothing in here. What it is rejecting is, once again, either a mineral ore or detected vibrations can kind of mess with it. And so it could be vibration, it could be electromagnetic field. So that's what metal detection is an electromagnetic field that's looking for metals, obviously. More often than not, it's pretty clean by the time it gets to us because of those screens and magnets that they have at the mine. All right, so Andy here is doing one of the most important steps in this process, which is providing this component to the pouching machine. This is where she's watching a lot of the machine controls. So it's Andy's job to watch this pickup station and make sure that everything's happened the way that it should. It's amazing how minute and small the adjustments are that you have to make to be able to do this successfully. We're gripping the pouch, we're opening the pouch. Once we have filled the product into the package, it comes around here. There's a little settler that kind of helps settle the salt in the package. And then what you see here is a heat seal bar and a cooling bar. So once we've produced the pouches, you can see what these gentlemen are doing here is the actual case making. So making the pack outs, and then that's how we basically ship it to wherever it's going.
I want to talk about glass bottles because that was something I asked Darryl about. Like we were talking about microplastics, so he was saying that like there was a little bit of tinkering with glass, but then there's all these other considerations that need to be taken in terms of safety. Also, I'm assuming in terms of weight, it's like really inefficient.
It's really interesting, and it's top of mind for us this week. Actually, because it's always, well, what about microplastics? What about microplastics? For me, you just have to weigh the holistic pros and cons of using glass versus plastic versus flexible packaging. Just because something is packaged in glass, it doesn't mean that it's free of microplastics either, because look at the processing equipment. Was it stored in a bulk bag? Did we transport it in a bulk bag? Did the bulk bag degrade over time? So just because something has the appearance of being in a glass container at the end of the processing, it doesn't mean that there wasn't microplastics introduced throughout the manufacturing processes. It's actually a really good segue into like HACCP, so hazard analysis and critical control points. You have to understand how you're manufacturing your product and then minimize those hazards. With glass packaging, for example, you could see glass shards.
Right.
Number one. You could see...
Which looks a lot like salt.
It does. And that's what's kind of scary about salt in a glass container is so metal detection obviously is only going to catch metals. X-ray detection does have that ability, but all that X-ray can do is differentiate density, right? So they're density differentiators is what X-ray does. And so salt being the component, glass is made from sand, which has a similar density to salt, you may or may not actually be able to inspect for glass particles using X-ray.
How did you get into this?
Mine is more of a traditional, so I was in school and back in 7th grade took some fun classes that taught some engineering principles, and I was like, this is really cool. I've always been really intrigued with how things work and have been curious on why things happen certain ways. Never in a million years would I have thought about salt. That the food industry was not anywhere where I was thinking about going or anything like that. But I ended up studying manufacturing engineering. There's some small differences between mechanical and manufacturing engineering, with mechanical being more of a design-based, conceptual, and manufacturing being, hey, we're here, we're hands-on, we get to work with the equipment. And that was much more of what I enjoyed doing. And then I met up with Redmond and the amazing culture that's here. And it was just really cool to see how what I studied is exactly the machinery that I get to use, the principles that we get to use for process improvement and things like that was exactly what I enjoyed doing and got to be a part of it.
Cool.
So I came from a construction background, actually. I was contracting. And like for years and years, like, oh, would you ever want to come here? I'm like, salt packaging is boring. I remember saying that once. It just sounds boring. Like, I just like, how exciting could it be? Well, like, it's super exciting, I think. So anyways, we geek out, dude. It's bad. And so I've done a little bit of college, but I don't have a degree. And I think that there's like degrees are helpful. But I just have a lot of experience with like building houses and homes and commercial buildings, and you learn a lot if you're curious. Like we can't just like, oh, well, that happens, and no, we got to know how it's happening. Like, why is that happening? And I've always had that. Like, I grew up watching how it's made.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up watching that show, and to be like now full circle, like, oh, here we're making a how it's made segment for Real Salt. It's pretty cool.
This has been awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to sharing this, sharing your expertise. I just have so much more appreciation for like a single bag, a single salt shaker.
Yeah. Any product that you're consuming anywhere.
Yeah.
And like this, like you mentioned, we're not really processing it here, we're packaging it.
Yeah.
Think about the things you are eating that are processed, how much work goes into them.
Right.